In an era that's defined by rapidly changing technological advancements that we've been witnessing, also global uncertainties, as well as the evolving market landscapes, it is getting more and more imperative for businesses to cultivate resilience. And that's getting more crucial than ever before. And which is why our first panel this evening is to understand the importance of skilling for building businesses which are resilient for the future. I'll begin by you, Rajni, and I want to understand from you, how can organizations today really ensure that their workforce is competitive enough, is resilient enough in the rapidly evolving technological advancements that we are faced with?
I think with the question you have given the answer itself. If the business force and the workforce in the business has to be very competitive, only then the business can be resilient one. And it is otherwise also, if the business is resilient, the competitive environment in the workforce will be there. Because unless until the workforce is motivated and competitive enough, the business cannot take off. And similarly, if the business is running a little smoothly, it will give a confidence and keeps up the motivation. Like for that, people generally believe that the growth of the organization is vertical. But somehow I beg to differ. I also believe the growth of the organization can be horizontal. Like interchangeability within the discipline, within the organization can also help in creating the competition amongst the different domains in a business. We experimented this in our company in IRCTC and we were quite successful. Where interchangeability in one domain from catering to tourism, tourism to catering, we experimented it many times. In fact, to utter surprise, I think I should inform to this house that the Great Maharaja Express, which is operating, it is being operated by the IHM qualified by guys who are actually catering the expert but working in the tourism domain. So this kind of a competitiveness has to be created. This will really help. And the training has to be given a very right time. Agar aapne baad mein training di, it is not making any sense. It has to be given a very dot at the time. Like in COVID, when we were running for the digital kind of a transformations, had we not given that training for the POS machines or the how to handle the people during the COVID through Bureau Veritas, the things would have been very difficult. But it really helped. It not only created the competitiveness amongst our employees, but at the same time, we could win the confidence of the customer also because we were in the mass tourism. And there the training given by Bureau Veritas, ITDC, our own organization, it really helped in creating the competitiveness. So I think you are answering my question as well. So thank you very much for that.
Right. Dr. Sridhar, let me ask you then, you deal with a lot of students. Help me understand, what specific skills and competitiveness that you teach and you ensure that, your students at your institution, they get so that whenever they go out there in the field of unforeseen challenges, they are able to cope with the changing advancements too.
Yeah, I come from education background institution, and we actually have the courses which are offered starting from aeronautical engineering, aerospace engineering, and also in the liberal arts, we teach many of the liberal arts courses. So it's a philanthropy of many of these together. Now the question which you are actually mentioning is about what about the type of skilling that we should be focusing for the students so that students will become more employable or easily employable. In fact, when Infosys Narayan Murthy actually coined a phrase called many of the engineers are unemployable the moment actually they come out of the institution, they need to be honed up again. This was his concern. Basically we have a different outlook for that. Our founder Dr. KCG Verghese gave a tagline for us. He says to make every man a success and no man a failure, which means that we need to identify the talents in every person and nurture those talents in that particular field. See, for example, in the engineering fields, not only the communication skills are more important, the technical skills are also very, very important. So how are we actually addressing that to make our system more resilient is we have tied up with many industries now, not only to actually take them for internship or placement, they also actually act as the board of studies members, so that the curriculum is actually altered, tuned, so that this curriculum exactly fits into what is the current technology and which dynamically keeps changing. And also actually with a few of these industries, we have made an MOU in which the resource persons also we draw from the industry and a few courses in a particular program are taught by them. See, for example, we have tied up with IBM in computer science. So this IBM actually teaches our students as well as the faculty also on artificial intelligence, which is on par with the industry requirement. So usually there will be a phase lag between industry and institution, and industry always feels that the output of institution, that is the students who come into the industry, will always need to be honed, and therefore they have more gestation period and training period, etc., which is a loss for them. So now what actually I also request most of the industries, and also we are working with them, is since we are giving you an input, and therefore you need to invest in institution as well, in terms of resource persons, in terms of training, etc., and that is working very well. This is how we are trying to do it.
Okay, I'll come back to
Thank
you
you.
and circle back and understand more about how you're partnering with the leaders of India Inc. on that front as well. But Ashish, let me come to you now. Now, a lot of people would not probably know a little bit about your past, you know. You were from IIT Kharagpur.
Sounds like it's dark, right?
And when you had taken your venture for investments, I think you got 73 rejections. Yeah? And after that, today you've been able to scale up your business to a $5 billion company. Yeah? And help us understand, for all the budding entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, what are the key lessons, key skills that helped you navigate through all the challenges? It's no mean number. And the kind of perseverance that you continuously showed and belief in your own venture, that even they can understand to how to build a business which will be a sustainable business for the future, despite not knowing what challenges will come over a period of time.
Understood. Firstly, thank you for having me. Looking forward to a great evening of learning with all of you. So I'll first tell you the story behind the 73 because it has been quoted a lot. So when we started our business, I was a venture capitalist just before starting up. So it was frankly quite easy to get the first round of funding. And then what happened is, for about a year to year and a half, we faced many rejections. Till actually I faced a journalist who asked me that, "Aapke kitne rejections hue honge?" I said, "More than 50 for sure." Okay? He said, थोड़ा सा exact number बताइए ना, तो I can actually put it down. I said, "Okay, why don't you put 54?" The journalist put 54 down, and the 54 actually caught quite some fire. Then the next person asked me that 54 सही था क्या? मैंने कहा देखो ऐसा ही है, 50 plus तो था ही, आप 60 लिख दो. So 54 became 60, 60 became 64. I think 73 is where it has got cemented for about a year, but it is a lot of rejections per se. The reason we got rejected so many times after having a sail through in the first round is, I don't know if you know about OfBusiness. OfBusiness is a B2B raw material platform which actually supplies large bulky raw materials like steel, cement, chemicals, a bit of food grains and all that. We take it from the source and give it off directly to the end user, who's typically a SME. So bypassing all the traders in between is what we do. Think about Amazon, Flipkart doing something for the B2C world. We do the same for the B2B world. Now obviously B2B world was very different in the sense that it required you to have financing capability, it required you to have processing capability and some of that stuff. So hence it was more challenging. So the reason we got rejected so much, particularly in our first few rounds just after the seed investment, was one, ours was a very India-specific solution. It had never been attempted globally. So people used to come and ask us, hey, you know what, tell us where has it been built in China, US and stuff like that. We never had a solution to that. Second is, the fact that I used to always say that technology is an enabler for our business and we are not a tech-first business used to be something that the investors did not really like back then. People wanted tech-first businesses, particularly in the earlier parts of your entrepreneurial journey. The third was we had a huge focus on actually, turning profitable very, very quickly. And a lot of investors used to think that if we are trying to become profitable too soon, we'll probably end up making a very small business, right? So those are the kind of things why the rejections happened. But all through that journey, I must tell you, there are a few things that I learned, which is what my advice would be to people also starting up or, being in their early business careers. One is never change yourself. There was an easy way to actually, put out something which was not us or not me in the very beginning. So resist that. I think that's the first. Your best chances of success are when you are yourself, or at least most of the time yourself. That's one. The second thing is that never give up. If you are persistent, perseverant, you will finally make it. And the third thing is that build a business or build a team that actually focuses on what is truly the problem that you encounter on the ground, and not really build something which is a copycat of something that has been attempted elsewhere. So those are the kind of themes that I kind of focus on.
Okay. Dr. Chava, let me understand from you, how do you see investing in employee skill programs, development, increase the global competitiveness of companies and industries at large?
Currently, the geopolitical challenges and the opportunities for the Indian manufacturing industry, especially pharmaceutical industry, are enormous. But the biggest challenge is how to get the skilled talent pool. That was the biggest challenge. If pharmaceutical industry is not growing, it's not lack of money or lack of business. I am sure it is going to be lack of talent. For us, we spend a lot of money on skilling our people, but it is very difficult to make a scientist who doesn't have a great education up to graduation, and you want to bridge that skill in 3 months and employ him. It's not easy. You can't make a scientist in 3 months. You can't make an artist in 6 months. So it has to be taught from the basics education. So the biggest challenge we face is these days many people are more focused to go into services, especially IT services. Nobody is taking up basic sciences as their career path when they pass +2. For them, nobody would like to go to BSc or other things. We have more engineers than basic science graduates in the country. That's a challenge. So that challenge will blow up in the next 10 years. So unless we act right now, we are not going to solve the problem of a decade from now. I think my request to all policymakers and educational institutions is we have to give more importance to basic sciences, because the basic sciences are very essential to build a resilient Indian manufacturing ecosystem. So I think we have to start empowering our schools, building more infrastructure in our schools from small cities onwards. We only look at metros and having centers of excellence. The centers of excellence cannot make 70 million talent who can be employable. You can only, IITs and IISc can employ 10,000 students. But we need 7 crore graduates. We need 7 crore people who are entering into the workforce every year. We need to have this as a mission. Then only we will make India great in the next decade or so.
Okay. Rajni, could you add to that? Investment in skill development is something that the industries at large are doing. All of you have agreed, and you've employed that also in your past company as well. But what is the measure? How do you measure the effectiveness of the skill development programs that you've taken in? What is the return of investment, and what are the key metrics that you employ to understand what's the success rate of the measures that you've taken?
Of course, effectiveness of the training is a direct index when the employee of the company is satisfied and his moral is high. One, that is an indirect kind of an addition. Secondly, when the company itself is gaining in its turnover and its business, it really became effective. I was not very keen in some training initially, but later on, during COVID, we all will appreciate here, I think Saurabh just has also mentioned, that it was a challenge, COVID was a challenge for the hospitality industries. Everything was stopped. Her hotel band tha, trains chal nahi rahi thi. Everything was at a halt. So for us, coming up, starting a new business was a real challenge. So we took a challenge and trained our staff through Bureau Veritas. They are not here, but I must compliment them. 600 our supervisors, and came back in the mass tourism first. It was the tourism in IRCTC that came first. Later on, we also reaped the benefit out of that, and the company gained, and we were the first one to come back with the bang after COVID. And similarly, when we were training the people, we realized that it is not only important to train our own employee, but it is at the same time, you have to train your contractors employee also, because they also require a training, they also require certain skills to present the case, because it's a COVID period.
Sure.
So we gave them RPL training, that was through Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, National Skill Development helped us, and we could train nearly 10,000 people through them. And all many of them left us also later on, because they got good jobs, they got a good training after that. But IRCTC as a company was able to come back. Training is became very effective, because indirect gain to the company had come in terms of restoring the MOU target, restoring the turnover and the profitability of the company. So the benefits are always there. They may be indirect or direct. Training doesn't go waste. You give it any time.
Right. Dr. Sridhar, I will come to you with the preparedness part, like, how are you partnering with the corporates of the industry to really ensure that the skills that you're teaching your students are those skills that are required by employers at large?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. And to just add up to that, basically I would say, because we are in the teaching fraternity, we need to make our teachers first understand these knowledge and also imbibe those skills. So we have a program, something called Train the Trainer programs, wherein the industry resource persons actually train our faculty first, either in our campus, on our campus, or in the place where actually this particular skill, the arena is available there. Then these teachers come and then teach our students, and all the skill training actually will have everyday feedback, everyday testing. And that is how basically we can understand that, okay, these people have come up to this level, etc. and so on. The third very challenging point is, see, the world is moving so fast, technological advancements are very fast. Today if I am teaching one particular technology, immediately next month actually the industries will be coming and telling, no, can you teach this particular technology, we want so and so faculty, so and so number of students in this particular area. So I need to make my teachers flexible also to accept that, and then learn new things and then go ahead. And we are greatly successful in doing this type with the Train the Trainer program.
Right. Ashish, given the rapid changes that are happening, do you prefer reskilling of your existing employees, or do you prefer new hiring? What is the strategy that you employ?
So I'll give you a number and an anecdote with it. So I think, so this year we will do about close to 20,000 crores of turnover, give or take, it's a number. I think 3 years back, when we were probably 1/8 the size, we had half the number of people. So the turnover of the company has practically grown between 8 to 9x, whereas the employee count has only grown by 2x, right? So the first mantra that we follow is to make sure that our people are more efficient. And the way we do it is that we never, you won't believe it, I'm 43 years old, I am the third oldest guy in the company. So we are a very young company. The median age of our company is 24. So our mantra is take them young, upskill, reskill them, make them more efficient with good use of technology as well as resources if required from the industry. And we've always focused on that. With rapid advances that are happening in technology today, I can assure you that almost every job can be made efficient to a degree that it will at least be 2x from wherever you start at whatever level in the organization you start.
Right. Dr. Chava, I'll give the last word to you then. Looking forward, what could be the emerging trends, what could be the need of the hour when it comes to skilling, reskilling, upskilling, so that, the students of the future and the young employees could be prepared for, rapid changes that could be coming our way over the next decade or so?
I think we are involved in both research and manufacturing. We are employing a lot of digital tools to do research. So that is helping us to improve productivity of our chemists and scientists. But in the manufacturing, we cannot go to, as Ashish mentioned, to 50, 100 crore per employee. For us, as involved in manufacturing, our revenue per employee is close to 1 crore. For us to grow by another 10,000 crores, we have to employ 10,000 more people. So our growth is arithmetic to number of employees what we engage with them. But in knowledge-based and fintech-based industries, I think they can achieve 20, 30,000 crore revenue per employee. But in IT services, they can go to maybe 30, 40 lakhs per employee. But in manufacturing, where we have coupled with knowledge and then manufacturing together, we can go to up to 1 crore. You see, India has to grow from 3-4 trillion to 25 trillion, what we are talking. Imagine how much of manpower is needed for us to go take the country from this stage to next stage. We are not imagining those numbers. Those numbers are scary numbers. We are not putting any efforts to skill 70 million people. So,
Right.
yeah.
All right. Well, truly appreciate your presence on this panel, Rajni, Ashish, Dr. Sridhar, Dr. Chava. Many thanks for enlightening us with all those thoughts. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.